What could you do if you had unshakable confidence? Confidence that you may not know exactly what's happening, but you know you can figure it out. Well, that is what we are diving in today. I am so excited to share this with you because I know that when I step into unshakable confidence, when I put that cloak on, when I embrace the fact that God's got me and I can figure things out. I can do so many things, even outside of my comfort zone, even outside of I have no idea what I'm doing. And even that self-doubt that creeps in and says, Tammy, who do you think you are? So let's do this. Hey, and welcome to the Full Weight of Joy podcast, the podcast for women who are done stressing about the weight of the world, of expectations and settling for status quo, and ready to step into the full weight of joy. Joy in the journey, whether up or down, joy through the life's challenges, and joy in loving your life right where you are, even though sometimes we feel like chucking it all and moving to Bali. It's for women who are ready to step into who God called them to be. He chose you to be in this world. He created you for a specific purpose. God called us to be the light on a hill, and by embracing who you are and whose you are, you can stand on that hill and shine. The best part, when you're standing next to another woman who's also on the journey, the world gets brighter. My name is Tami. I'm your host and a master certified life coach and a trained therapist. For over a decade, I've been helping women do just that. Step into who they're called to be and shine. Are you ready, friend, to start your journey? Let's do this. What would be possible for you if you had unshakable confidence? What's possible? I've talked to so many women who are like, I just need more confidence. And I even looked, like, one of the things that I do is I look back at my podcasts over the last couple of months, and I always look at the numbers of, are there any outliers? Are there any themes that more people are watching or listening or downloading? And there was an overarching theme, like keyword, that over the last couple of months, people have been searching for. And I see this on the podcast as well as on YouTube. And so I was like, okay, Tammy, this is an area we need to dive in deeper. And this is over the next couple of episodes. I don't know if I'm going to do them in order, but I've got a couple of episodes dealing with confidence coming, because the overwhelming theme that rose to the top is overcoming self-doubt. So the opposite of self-doubt is confidence. And just a little bit of confidence is not enough. Let's have unshakable confidence, ladies. Let's have so much confidence that we know that we're going to be able to figure out anything that we need to figure out. Have confidence in knowing who we are, whose we are, what we're capable of. And I want to talk about that today is like, what can we do to build unshakable confidence? So let's talk about what confidence is, because confidence is a muscle. Confidence is something that we don't just naturally have. There are people who you're just like, oh, they're just naturally confident. Well, I guarantee it's the thought patterns that are helping them get to that are enabling that and allowing that unshakable confidence. I also know that, like, this is true for myself. There is days that I don't feel confident, and yet I work that muscle to the point of exhaustion. Like, I will put on the cloak of confidence, and it's not fake it till you make it, but it is stepping into the confidence that you want. And so let's talk. What is confidence? Confidence is the belief in your own abilities, qualities, and judgment. It's the assurance you feel in your capacity to handle various situations, make decisions, and achieve goals. Confidence allows you to approach challenges with a positive mindset and take risks without being paralyzed by fear or self-doubt. It allows you to take risks, take action without being paralyzed with fear or self-doubt. So this is the worldly, this is the Webster dictionary. This is the internet version of confidence. And the thing is that as a Christ follower, we have another element that is added into the confidence, because though the confidence is belief in your own abilities, qualities, and judgment, as a Christ follower, we know we don't have to solely depend on ourselves. Now, we do need to take action. We do need to step forward. We need to take those steps in faith, and we need to Well, we need to go for what we want. Staying still, staying stagnant, which is different than resting. Rest is a completely different beast. But even that, it takes confidence to truly rest. It really does. But when we are stepping into confidence, we're not stepping solely based on the basis of our own capabilities. We're actually stepping in a formed foundation. We're stepping on a step that God's already laid the platform for. He's already allowed his abilities, his judgment, his qualities, and we get to step on those. So the first thing that we know that if we're building unshakable confidence is we get to rest in God. And what does he say about confidence? Let's look here. So let's look Joshua 1:9. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. He will be with us wherever we go. Whatever step we take, he is there. We have confidence. We have trust that he is there. So to build unshakable confidence, we also get to step in faith and trust that God is there. The second one, 2 Timothy 1:7 says, for the Spirit God gave us does not make us timid, but gives us power, love, and self-discipline. We're not timid, ladies. We don't have to be timid. We can be shy. We can be, it doesn't mean we need to be boisterous or loud or bold. We can have a quiet confidence about us. And sometimes that is stronger than the loud confidence. Have you ever met someone who just is so them and the confidence they exude, and they don't have to talk about it. They don't have to show it, but you know that they're confident in their abilities. That's what I'm talking about, ladies. It's just we get to embrace the confidence that God is there with us, and that he hasn't given us a spirit of timidity. Timidity, is that a word? Anyway, he hasn't given us a spirit of being timid. He has given us power. We can rest and depend on that power, which leads to unshakable confidence. And then, one of the favorites, Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. I can do all things. It doesn't say some of the things. It doesn't say, the things that are easy, or it says all things. So to build unshakable confidence, we first get to step into a layer of faith in God, which helps me a lot. I do have confidence in myself. There are things that I have to remind myself that I have confidence in. No, you know what you're doing here. You know, you've done something similar, Tami. You may not have done this exact thing, but you know who God created you. You know your strengths that God's given you. You know that things are figure outable and that you typically figure it out. That self-talk gives me confidence. What is your self-talk? And before I get ahead of myself, let's talk about 3 indications that you get to step into that. You get to step on that step you get to step into confidence, with the first step being trusting in the Lord. And so the 3 indicators that you need to embrace more confidence, that you need to build the muscle, work the muscle of unshakable confidence, is constantly seeking approval from others. One of the things that I get the privilege of doing is I help women turn their life experiences, their expertise, the strength and the dreams that God's put on their heart, and turn them into profitable businesses, turn them into purpose-aligned lives and businesses that give them freedom. And one of the biggest things that we have to overcome is getting other people's approval. The way other people do things, it's not wrong, but they don't know you. They don't know you in the way that God knows you. They don't see what's possible for you. They may have an idea, even encouraging people. So I'm not talking about just the negative, but even encouraging people, the people who see the opportunities in you, they still don't see all of the areas that God has for you. They don't see the dream that God's put on your heart. And so there's times that we have to set down other people's approvals, that we have to stop getting our ideas validated by the world and get them validated by God. That we work for an audience of one. And so when we seek other people's approval, it's going to lower our confidence because it takes those innate abilities, those innate knowing, those strengths and gifts and talents and core motivations that God's given us. And then it's giving someone else the power of, is this right or not? So we get to shift that a little bit. And instead of seeking validation, we get to seek support. We get to say, this is what I'm doing. I don't need validation here. I don't need advice here. I just need to talk it through. Could you just ask me questions? Or could you just sit and listen for a moment? And the more we talk, I talk things out. When there's an idea, I have a couple of friends. I don't go to the same friend and bother but I have a couple of friends who I know will sit and listen to me as I circle and as I discuss things, because when I talk things out, I gain clarity. I gain insight. I can figure out what I want or what God has for me. But there was a time that I would use that and I would talk things out and I would look for approval. Like, do you think it's a good idea? And depending on the other person, they may say, yeah, go for it. Or no, Tami, like that's how things are done. So we get to stop seeking outside approval. If you want unshakable confidence, tell your friends, but let them know that you don't need approval, that you just want encouragement, or that you want questions, that you are just let me talk it out and try something different. So another indicator is you're avoiding the challenges or new opportunities. Has God been putting something on your heart that you have been avoiding? Lady, friend, let's start diving in and taking these challenges and realizing that, remember, our basis of confidence is not on ourselves. It's on Christ and who he's created us to be. So we're already starting from, we're starting from ahead. We're starting a couple levels up because we did not have to build our abilities first. God does that. He's put them innately inside of us already. We encompass, we have these strengths inside of us, and God's going to use them towards our goals. To build unshakable confidence, we get to do hard things, ladies. We get to do hard things. And I know I just did a podcast about how talking about hard things is actually stopping us from pushing us forward when we focus on the hard things. But when we break it down, we get to explore the challenges, because with challenge comes new opportunities. So if you find yourself avoiding it, remind yourself that you're starting from a higher block. You're not starting from the ground level. You're on floor 3 of confidence, simply because God filled in those first 3 floors. And the next one is the negative self-talk and doubt. If you talk yourself out of something that you know God's put on your heart, or if you talk around it, or if you downplay, or you know that he asked you to do this thing, and so you do everything around it, kind of in the same realm, in the same idea. This is where for a personal anecdote here, is when I knew that speaking was on my heart. So what did I do? I got really good at being behind the camera, helping with the lights, helping with the sound, helping with the camera, helping the person who's speaking be able to speak clearer. And that's when God's like, Tami, why are you behind the camera when I asked you to be in front of it? But I did that because I didn't have the confidence to stand up there. And when I got clear on that, when I stopped doubting myself, when I stopped doubting what God was telling me, and I stopped asking for approval from others, because I had a friend who was like, no, Tami, you don't even like public speaking. No, it makes you nervous, makes you sick. Why would you even consider it? And she was coming from a good place. I love her dearly. She's still a really good friend. But then I realized it was her fear. And instead of saying, Tami, if God's called you to it, you best figure out how to do it. You best try and just act. And who cares if you fall? God will catch you. Something will come from it. It could be used for good. So those indicators, seeking constant approval from others, avoiding challenges or new opportunities, and this negative self-talk, those are indicators that we need more unshakable confidence. So here is this is how you know if you have unshakable confidence. Okay. So remember, we are not starting from zero. So it's already, we get to layer our confidence on top of who God says he is, and then on top of who he says we are. And so by being a child of God, we already get to step into confidence that's waiting there for us. We don't have to cultivate all of it. And so when we have confidence, we are willing to take risks. We are willing to say, okay, I don't know how this is going to go, but I'm going to try it anyway. I'm going to get up on stage and I'm going to speak about who knows what, or I'm going to start this business because I know God has someone for me to impact. I know I'm going to start this because I know that God's, I don't know what it's going to turn out to be. I don't know what the outcome's going to be. I don't know the 5 steps from now. I only know this one thing. Take the risk. Risks are like calculated. I'm not talking about, base jumping without, throwing the chute first and then, knowing that you'll catch up to it, put it on in the air and then land safely. Like I'm talking about calculated risks. I'm talking about holy risks that when God tells us to do something, we do it. Okay. Like a holy risk. Is that a thing? I don't know. Anyway, the ability to handle criticism constructively. When you start something new, there's going to be a lot of criticism about it. It's doing something that goes against the grain. It's going to ruffle some feathers. It's going to break some rules that, well, let's face it, they probably needed to be broken. But still, it's going to go against what you've been doing. It's going to speak into a new identity that you're forming. And so we're going to get criticism. And it doesn't mean that it's not all helpful. It could be constructive. But when we're confident, when we understand that it's okay, I don't need to rest on my instincts and my qualities and abilities and my judgment alone, that I know that I have the basis of God's as well, then we also get to step into that. Well, like back to Joshua 1:9, have I not commanded you to be strong and courageous? Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. He doesn't say he'll be with you when you take the right step. He'll be with you when you're doing the right thing or the only one way to do it. He says he'll be with you wherever you go. Whatever direction you're going to go, he'll be there. In fact, he's there in front of you. He's there behind you. He's there beside you. And so we don't need to worry. And when we focus on criticism, or when we allow that to change our mind, there's going to be the confidence that we hold is going to diminish. So let's handle the criticism with care. Thank you for your concern. Or I appreciate your thoughts, and I realize that you do have some valid fears that I have too. And I know that this is the direction God wants me to go in. I know that there's something here and I don't know what it is, but I'm willing to take the risk to figure it out. And then the next one is the consistency in actions and decisions. It's when we start to build this unshakable confidence, we're able to take consistent action. And not because we know that there's a certain outcome every time we take this action, but we do start to, again, that builds our muscle. It builds our 6-pack of confidence. It builds our assurance that we can figure things out, that we don't need to know all the answers. We don't need to see the whole path. Confidence is not about knowing it all and having it all. It means that you are willing to try. And every time you try, even if you fall, when you get back up, it builds that confident muscle. And so we get to step into our confidence, ladies. We get to do confidence daily. Like if we think of it as a muscle and something that we put on versus something that we naturally have, then it's a lot easier to say, okay, my confidence may not be through the roof today, but I can take action, consistent action, and I can make decisions to actually move forward with it. that decisions that I know that whatever it is, I can figure it out. And so let's talk about 3 ways that we can build this unshakable confidence. The first is embrace small steps. That consistency, those actions and decisions, like the more you take and the more you embrace the small steps forward, the more unshakable confidence you can have. The more you can overcome those self-doubts because you see the evidence. And that goes into number 2 is start building your evidence list. Get a notebook. Get a notebook. And every time you take a step and you figure it out, write it down. Build your evidence list. Look at all the times in your life that you've tried something you didn't know and you succeeded. Every time you fell and then you got back up stronger. Write those down too, because that just shows that like build this evidence list that God's already put on your heart. He's already cultivating your strengths. And those strengths are what's going to help you lean forward into what's possible. And then the next is be in the room with confident people. Be in the room, surround yourself with those who are also working on unshakable confidence. Be in a room with someone who is like further along and she's been building that muscle for years. And then also be in the room with people who are just starting to see, because not that you can, not to put them down, not to be like, see, I'm better than them, but to see how far you have come. Again, for that evidence list, when you see someone else and you're like, okay, I used to be there and now I'm not there anymore. Why? What's different? What steps did you take? Who did you become in that process? And that evidence is what's going to build you unshakable confidence. Because there's days we wake up and we don't have much confidence. When that self-talk gets loud or we fall and we're just like, I really thought this was going to work. If you have that evidence list, go right to that and you can see, okay, I got up before and I can get up stronger this time. We don't have to depend on our own abilities. We get to step into God's. We get to step into the abilities we've been cultivating. One simple action isn't going to define our life. I know they say that there's one decision can change your life, but I want to confront that a little bit. I want to push back on that, because that decision that you make in that moment, even if it's something it's unique and you changed how you ordinarily would decide, it's still because of all of the steps that you took before. It's because of all the evidence. It's because of all like who you were becoming, that moment you were confident enough to say, I'm going to do something different. So yes, we have these moments that are life changing, but it's the things that come before it that start to help us to know that what's possible. So what's possible for you if you have unshakable confidence? What can be created? How can God use you? If you were just decided today that you're going to start embracing the small steps, the small action, the small decisions, that you're going to start building your confidence list, you're going to start building your evidence list, and that you're going to be in the room with confident people. You're going to start surrounding yourself with people who are willing to, again, remember the 3 indicators to know that you have confidence is willing to take risks. Women who try hard things, ability to handle criticism constructively, realize that there's some people who don't have the authority to criticize your decisions. If they're not in the arena, if they are not taking action themselves, then a lot of times that criticism can just be pushed aside. Also note that not all criticism needs to be taken as you're not doing it right. Sometimes it's like, hey, just shift this and you can soar. So handle it constructively. File it where it needs to go. Is it useful or is it harmful? And then is it something I need now? Is it something I can use later? Or is it something that I can say, thank you for your concern and have a good day? Like we get to handle it properly. We get to handle it constructively. And then also we know if they're consistently taking action and making decisions. Now, I'm not saying they're taking perfect action. They're not making perfect decisions. We're human. We fall. Even those with unshakable confidence fall. And in fact, I have some friends who have unshakable confidence and they fall often. The thing that's interesting is they don't stay down long. And like they love falling. They have changed that mindset because when they fall, they get back up stronger. And so surround yourself with confident people, confident in God's abilities, confident in like this unshakable confidence that helps move you forward. And so if you are combating self-doubt, then I would, instead of focusing on having the self-doubt, let's start to build unshakable confidence. Start to, like I said, embrace small steps and small actions and small decisions. Build your evidence list. Start right now. Every time you make a decision towards confidence, write it down. And every time, like, think back of all the things you've gone through, all those trials and tribulations and challenges and struggles and traumas, and what helps you get up. Because the key is, if you are here, you're up. If you are here, you've been through the hardest thing you have ever experienced, and you are an overcomer. Now, it may not be that you, not to be Debbie Downer here, but there may be a trial coming, a challenge coming that God is going to use you through. But when we have our evidence list, like, it's a lot easier to dive in and see with a different perspective of, okay, God, I'm going to lean on your confidence here. And here is all that I'm giving you to work through me. What can you do with it? Here I am. Use me. And then just be in the room with confident people. When you are not confident yourself, surround yourself with people who are and who will build you up. The most confident people I know, and I'm talking about confident, not prideful here. I'm talking about confident and self-assured and God-assured, and like, I'm talking about those who it's confidence, not pride, and not trying to like overcompensation. But those people who are confident, they also work to build confidence in others. The prideful person is going to tell you you're not good enough. Okay, so that's criticism you don't need. It's the confident person who says, you know what? I've been there. Here is what I've done, and I know you can do it too. So surround yourself with people like that. All right. So I've got some exciting things coming up. I've got a vision lab coming 4 weeks where we're going to just really dive into creating a vision board, creating a vision, like affirmations and a vision prime, creating an impact vision, because God says without vision, people perish. I know so many women who have a desire, but they haven't actually got it out and put it into a vision. And so that is that's one thing that I'm coming up. So stay tuned for information with that. Join our Facebook group, Divine Destiny, Living a Purpose-Aligned Life. And the show notes have the link for that. And the information will be there first, but it will also be on my website here soon. And I will also put a link in the show notes when it's created. But part of having unshakable confidence is also know what you're working towards, to see the vision that God's placed on your heart and see what becomes possible. So all of these things that I'm talking about, this overcoming self-doubt and stepping into your purpose-aligned life, it's all about what God wants to do with you and who he's created you to be and who he is already, like you already are. So you get to step into who she is. All right, friend. If you're ready to talk about what's next for you, if you want to build your unshakable confidence and step into the purpose-aligned life and purpose-aligned business that God's created for you, if you want to take what you have been through, if God's put on your heart and said, I know I can impact with this, get on my calendar and let's talk. All right, friend. The link is in the show notes, but choose joy until joy chooses you. I can't wait to talk to you next week. Bye for now.